Let's break down Sunday's Giants-Raiders matchup with Graphk Raider of OLV Raiders Network on YouTube. My man, thanks for jumping on with us. Where are you at right now? It looks like you're in the Raiders locker room right now.
This is exactly where we got rid of Josh McDaniels and David Ziegler.
All right, well,
yeah,
thank you for helping them pack. I hope you brought them to their Uber. Let's start with that news. Obviously, they got fired in the wee hours of the nights. Give us your thoughts on their short time as head coach and GM. Do you think that firing them after only 8 games was the way to go?
I think it was. In terms of Josh McDaniels, I thought that Ziegler would have a little bit more leash, but it ended up being true that they were a package deal. The players, Davante Adams was fed up. You know, Max Crosby, there was a lot of rumblings about these superstars being disgruntled behind the scenes. And apparently Mayor Mark, you know, took it upon himself to go actually have some lunch and speak with a few of his superstar players. And they kind of shared, you know, their experiences with Josh McDaniels and the culture that he was trying to build. And it just wasn't a good one, man. And, you know, with Max Crosby, with you know, being in his prime right now, Davante Adams being in his prime, it's like you have to take advantage of that. And right now, you know, this just isn't good football. I mean, we're one of the highest paid offenses in the NFL. I think $105 million directed towards the offense, and we have one of the most miserable offenses in the NFL. And it just doesn't make any sense. And we haven't been able to find a way to get Davante Adams involved in the game. It's just, I think the game is passed up Josh McDaniels. And I just think without Tom Brady and Bill Belichick there, it's just not what it's supposed to be. I think that Tom Brady is the system. I don't think that Josh McDaniels is the system.
Well, that's the players' point of view. You mentioned Max Crosby and Davante Adams. Fan-wise, you know, this Raiders fan base, they'll let you know when they have a problem with you. What was kind of like the fan reaction to it all out there?
We were kind of all holding pitchforks, man. I'm gonna be honest. For a minute there, everybody was ready to boycott, not go watch the games. You know, it's just, it's very tough, man. Look, we've already been through 40 years of football purgatory as is. We haven't won anything really since 83, 84. And, you know, we just thought with him coming in, instantly making the trade for Davante Adams, bringing him in to pair him with Derek Carr, his best friend, we just thought that we were on the rise. You know, you go get Chandler Jones in free agency. And now you see what happened with him. You know, you move on from Darren Waller, which you guys have now, which ended up being a good deal for us. You know, that's with Raider Nation. We kind of got tired of the injuries piling up. But Hunter Renfrow, a guy that, you know, was a Pro Bowler in 2021 and led us in receptions. This was the guy in receiving yards that we thought was going to be that slot presence that Josh McDaniels liked to utilize, like his time with the Edelmans, you know, those guys in New England. And he hasn't found a way to get him, you know, utilized. And for Hunter, a guy that's so calm, cool, and collected, for him to want to get out of Las Vegas, it's clearly a problem, man. You know, so it's just the writing was on the wall. It looked as though the players weren't fighting for him against the Chicago Bears. It just was a terrible effort a few weeks back, and just another poor performance Monday night. It was time, man. Ziegler, though, was kind of a little shocked because, you know, we haven't really got a chance to see what his first 2 drafts, you know, look like. The first one doesn't look really too good outside of Dylan Parham, our starting left guard. But, you know, with Zeus, our backup running back, and Britton Brown, a lot of these guys, they're not getting any reps, or they're on the IR for, you know, Matthew Butler, another defensive tackle that's on the practice squad. Neil Farrell, he's a chief. That first draft class, I'm like, I'm going to give Ziegler a little wiggle room because he traded our first and second round draft picks for Davante Adams. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. This draft, I thought we had a great draft, but they haven't found a way to get these guys involved in the offense. Trey Tucker, a guy that we used that Darren Waller pick for, who was a playmaker, they can't find a way to get the ball in his hands. Michael Mayer, probably the best tight end in this draft, haven't found a way to get him. It's just, he hasn't done anything right, man.
A whole laundry list of things you can list off right now, but it's a new day in Vegas. Interim head coach Antonio Pierce takes over. He knows the Giants organization very well. He's actually one of my former teammates. So what are you expecting from AP on his head coaching debut?
I'm expecting, he's a rah-rah guy. You know, he's a player type guy. They're going to fight for him. And we already have the talent on this roster. That's the thing. Like, I don't know what happened. It had to have just been Ziegler in Josh McDaniels that happened to this team because there's so much talent across the board. The offensive line gotten worse, in year 2 under him. I think that these guys are going to come out and fight. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have his first 100-yard, game against the New York Giants. I think that Antonio Pierce is going to preach to these guys how much this game means to him because this is his former team. And I think Devontae and Max are going to they're going to feast this upcoming week because of it. And I like Antonio Pierce. I think he's going to allow his guys to do what they do. Patrick Graham, our defensive coordinator, which has looked good these past 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's not going to change too much on the defensive side of the ball. I just think that he's going to be that guy that the players can go to. He's going to be the guy that's going to be in those pressers saying, put it on me, it's my fault. He's not going to be the guy like Josh McDaniels throwing his players under the bus. Yeah. And I'm excited to see, these guys fight for him because he was a player. He knows what these guys are going through. And I'm just excited to see him on the sideline first time with a headset on, man. I'm really excited to see what he can look like against his former team.
Yeah, you mentioned Patrick Graham. He was former Giants defensive coordinator. Seems like there's all types of ties in this game. We'll talk about the defense in a little bit. Let's talk about this offense. News broke that the Raiders are promoting quarterbacks coach Bo Hardegree to offensive coordinator. What do you think the Raiders offense is going to look like on Sunday with Hardegree calling the plays? And there's even more news. What's your thoughts on Jimmy G getting benched and the team going with Aiden O'Connell as QB1?
I was a little shocked about the Bo Hardegree. I thought it was going to be Mick Lombardi. Then they ended up firing him. Then I thought it was going to be Scott Turner, a guy that we brought over from the Commanders. I thought maybe they would hand the keys to him. But to see Bo Hardegree was a shocker to me. I'm going to be honest. Just like it was a shocker that I seen Antonio Pierce. I thought Patrick Graham or Rob Ryan would have been the ones, one of those guys to be the head coach moving forward as the intern. But I expect not too much change. I think that he's just going to let the players go out there and play to their strengths. Yeah. It's a short week now without Josh McDaniels here. So maybe a little more vanilla offense. Josh McDaniels, he tries to overcomplicate things. He wants to look like the smartest guy in the room. And I'm not trying to beat him up now that he's not here, but it's just true. And I think that, with Bo, I think he's going to go out there. He's never been an offensive coordinator, in his career. I just think that he's going to go out there and say, look, you guys go play your game. You know the playbook. It's too early to change anything. Just go out there and play your game. And I'm excited about Aiden O'Connell. With Jimmy G and Brian Hoyer, you know what they're good at. You know what they're bad at. Most importantly, you know what they're bad at. You know what you're getting with these guys. With Aiden, he's the only question mark. And, when he came in against the Chargers last minute, had a poor game. I mean, he's a rookie. He hasn't had any real reps at the NFL level. Had a few fumbles, but he has the arm, to spread the defense out. And that's what we've been missing with Jimmy G. They've just been stacking the box and not allowing Josh Jacobs to get his game going. And with Aiden, he can let that thing fly. So I'm excited to see, what the young kid can do out of Purdue. He can make every pass. There's always been the comparison, with his throwing movement of Tom Brady. He has the velocity. He has everything it takes to get it done at the next level. I'm just excited to see, because he's a question mark. We don't know what he can do and what he can't do. We know what these other guys can and can't do. So I'm just excited to see what this kid can do. And it's a young quarterbacks league. It's not like back in the day where you can go get, one of these former all-pro first ballot guys and just they'll come in and win you a championship. This is the Patrick Mahomes league, the Josh Allen, the Joe Burrow league. I'm excited to see what this young guy can do Sunday against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what Wink Martindale is going to do when it comes to how he's going to play him, how much time or how much film he's been able to watch. Because like you said, young guy came in late in that Chargers game, doesn't have too many reps to put on tape. But at the end of the day, you got to stop Devontae Adams because the ball. I'm thinking at least 12 targets to Devontae Adams. But that's going to be a great matchup to watch him against Tay Banks. He's been pretty lights out in terms of playing that corner in his rookie year for the New York Giants. Let's Riverside it. Talk defensively. Patrick Graham is your DC. Max Crosby is the man, 6.5 sacks on the year. It's looking like Daniel Jones is going to be back as quarterback one this Sunday. The Giants offense really doesn't score that much. So you think the Raiders defense has the advantage in this matchup, and why?
I do. Daniel Jones, man, one thing he can do is escape the pocket and make plays with his legs. That offensive line has been really poor. out there for the Giants this year. I do expect Max Crosby to have a big game, especially with the news coming of Josh McDaniels, being relieved of his duties. I'm expecting a big game also from our other side, the edge rusher Tyree Wilson, our first round pick out of Texas Tech. You know what I mean? I truly believe that he's gonna unlock that full potential this weekend. The defensive line has been kind of a blessing in disguise this year. It's kind of been a little quiet from the interior of the defensive line, but I'm just hoping that the two edge rushers can open up that D line this week and get to Daniel Jones. One thing we have to do is try and keep him in the pocket as much as possible because we call him Vanilla Vic around here. He can get loose and he uses those legs. He can definitely destroy you. I know he's just coming back from that injury, so I don't know really what to expect from Daniel Jones. I kind of liked what Tyrod Taylor was looking like in that offense. That's not really saying much because we both have two poor offenses, but I think this weekend with Aiden O'Connell, the offense finally explodes. Yeah, man, Max, big day for Max. Yeah. Maybe even another pick six from the veteran Marcus Peters. He finally got his feet wet against Detroit. I think Graham's going to have these guys ready. This means a lot to him as well, facing his former team. So, yeah, man, I don't really know what to expect from that offense. Is Darren Waller, is the hammy, is it there? Is he
limited in practice, so it's one of those things where we're going to see how he feels, I guess, on game day. But Giants offense definitely needs him in that lineup. And then you got the receivers on the outside, the big play receivers. If they have time for Vanilla Vic to get the ball downfield, really push the ball downfield, and that's something Tyrod Taylor did very well. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see Daniel Jones, Mike Kafka go up against Patrick Graham, Max Crosby, and the rest of this Raiders defense. Graphk Raider, tell the people real quick where they can find you at.
Oh, man, OLV Raiders Network on YouTube, Twitter, at Graphk Raider, and on Instagram, at Graphk916, also oaklasvegas.com. So salute to you, man. Hey, I want to say this, too. I can't wait to see Ja'Cory Ben and Banks out there reuniting those Maryland boys. Okay. It's going to be some fun watching those guys out there at the corner position come Sunday, man. Yeah,
it's going to be a great game, man. And can you tell whoever left their slippers out in the background? Come on, man, clean that up. The locker room looks clean. That's a fine, bro. That's a fine. We appreciate you jumping on with us, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me, brother.